What if I told you that the thing you call love might actually be the most socially acceptable way to destroy yourself? What if every romantic movie, every love song, every fairy tale ending was teaching you to crave your own psychological annihilation? Today, we're going to explore something that will make you question everything you thought you knew about love. And by the end of this video, you might never look at relationships the same way again. We're taught from birth that love is beautiful. Love conquers all. Love makes us complete. Love is the answer to every emptiness inside us. But what if this story is a trap? Think about it. When you're in love, what actually happens to you? You lose sleep. You lose appetite. You can't concentrate. You become obsessed with another person's approval. You change your entire personality to fit what you think they want. You sacrifice your goals, your friendships, your identity, all for the promise of being complete. Sound familiar? Because those are also the exact symptoms of addiction. The racing heart, the euphoric highs, the devastating lows, the compulsive need for the next hit of attention, the withdrawal when they're not around. We just call it romance. Let's examine the parallels more closely. In addiction, you develop tolerance. You need more and more of the substance to feel normal. In love, you need more and more validation, more and more proof, more and more of their time and attention just to feel okay. In addiction, you experience withdrawal, physical and emotional pain when the substance is removed. In love, try going a day without hearing from them. Try watching them talk to someone else. Try the moment they seem distant. In addiction, you engage in increasingly destructive behaviors to maintain your supply. In love, you compromise your boundaries. You accept treatment you know is wrong. You ignore red flags that are screaming at you. You stay in situations that are slowly killing your spirit because the alternative, being alone, feels like death. But here's where it gets really dark. Society celebrates this behavior when we call it love. Every romantic comedy tells the same story. Pursue them relentlessly even when they say no. Change yourself completely to win them over. Fight for them even if it destroys you. Every love song celebrates obsession. I can't live without you. You're my everything. I'd die for you. Every romance novel glorifies the kind of emotional instability that, in any other context, would be called a mental health crisis. We've created an entire culture that romanticizes psychological dependency and calls it the highest form of human experience. Think about the language we use. Falling in love, you fall into a hole. You fall off a cliff. You fall down. Crazy in love. We literally use the word crazy, a term for mental instability, as a positive descriptor for romantic feelings. Love hurts. We accept pain as an inevitable part of love. But why? Why should the thing that's supposed to complete us hurt us? Unless it's not actually completing us, unless it's actually destroying us, and we've just learned to mistake destruction for devotion. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you're in love. Your brain floods with dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in cocaine addiction. You get a hit every time they text you back, every time they smile at you, every time they give you attention. But here's the cruel part. Dopamine isn't the happiness chemical. It's the wanting chemical. It doesn't make you satisfied, it makes you crave more. Then there's oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It creates attachment, but attachment without discernment. It makes you bond to people who might be terrible for you. It's why people stay in toxic relationships. Their brain chemistry is literally addicted to the person who's hurting them, and cortisol, the stress hormone. It's constantly elevated when you're in an unstable relationship. Your body is in a perpetual state of fight or flight, but you interpret this stress as passion. You're literally addicted to your own stress response. Your body is screaming that something is wrong, but you've been taught to call it love. But the most insidious part of this acceptable self-destruction is how it makes you disappear. You start changing your opinions to match theirs. You abandon hobbies they don't understand. You distance yourself from friends they don't like. You tell yourself it's compromise, but compromise suggests you're getting something equal in return. What you're actually doing is self-erasure. You're so afraid of being alone that you choose to stop being yourself instead. And society applauds this. True love means sacrifice. You complete each other. Two become one. But here's the question nobody asks. If two become one, who decides which one survives? Usually it's the person who needs less. The person who's more willing to walk away has all the power. So the person who loves more, who's more addicted, slowly dissolves their identity to keep the relationship alive. They mistake this dissolution for devotion. They call it selfless love, but there's nothing selfless about it. You can't give away what you don't have. If you've erased yourself, what exactly are you offering to another person? When a drug addict goes through withdrawal, we recognize it as a medical crisis. We have treatment programs, support groups, medical intervention. When someone goes through heartbreak, which is literally the same neurochemical process, we tell them to get over it and move on. We minimize their pain because we don't want to acknowledge what it actually is: withdrawal from a psychological addiction. The person isn't just sad about losing someone they cared about. They're experiencing the neurochemical crash of losing their primary source of dopamine, oxytocin, and identity validation. Their brain is screaming for the drug, for that person's attention, approval, presence. But instead of recognizing this as an addiction that needs to be treated, we romanticize it. If you're not devastated by the breakup, you never really loved them. So we teach people that the depth of their destruction is the measure of their devotion. The more it destroys you, the more real it was. Do you see the trap? Once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. You start recognizing it everywhere. The friend who jumps from relationship to relationship, never spending time alone. The couple who breaks up and gets back together repeatedly. The person who settles for terrible treatment because at least they're not alone. You see it in yourself. The way you feel incomplete when you're single. The way you define your worth by whether someone loves you. The way you're willing to accept less than you deserve because you're afraid of withdrawal, afraid of being alone. You realize that most of what we call love stories are actually addiction stories. Romeo and Juliet, two teenagers so addicted to each other that they choose death over withdrawal. The Notebook, a man who manipulates a woman with dementia by exploiting her emotional dependency. 50 Shades, a woman who mistakes abuse for intensity because she's never learned what healthy love actually looks like. These aren't beautiful love stories. They're cautionary tales about psychological addiction that we've rebranded as romance. And we wonder why divorce rates are so high, why people are more lonely than ever, why so many relationships are toxic. We've taught people to mistake addiction for love, dependency for devotion, and self-destruction for sacrifice. So what's the alternative? What does real love look like if it's not addiction? Real love doesn't make you lose yourself. It helps you find yourself. Real love doesn't create dependency. It encourages independence. Real love doesn't hurt. It feels peaceful, stable, secure. Real love doesn't require you to change who you are. It appreciates who you already are. Real love doesn't complete you because you were already complete. This is terrifying for most people to hear because it means you have to learn to be whole on your own first. You have to heal your addiction to external validation. You have to become someone who chooses love rather than needs it. But here's what nobody tells you about becoming whole on your own. It's not lonely. It's liberating. When you're not desperately seeking someone to complete you, you can actually see people clearly. You can recognize red flags instead of ignoring them. You can appreciate someone's good qualities without overlooking their bad ones. You can love someone without needing them. And that, loving without needing, that's what real love actually is. Of course, when you start seeing love this way, you'll face resistance. People will tell you you're cynical, that you don't believe in love, that you're just hurt or damaged. They'll say you're overthinking it, that you're taking the magic out of romance. But here's the thing, you're not taking the magic out. You're taking the manipulation out. You're refusing to mistake intensity for intimacy, obsession for affection, need for love. And yes, this will make you incompatible with most people. Because most people are still addicted to the drama, the chaos, the emotional roller coaster they mistake for passion. They're still looking for someone to complete them rather than complement them. They're still willing to lose themselves in someone else rather than find themselves in solitude, and that's okay, let them. But you don't have to join them. You can choose differently. But we need to go even deeper. Because the question isn't just, why do we mistake addiction for love? The real question is, why are we so afraid of being alone that we'd rather destroy ourselves than face solitude? The answer is uncomfortable, because most people have never learned to like themselves. They've never spent enough time alone to discover who they actually are beneath all the roles they play, all the masks they wear, all the ways they contort. themselves to be acceptable to others. They're terrified of solitude because they're terrified of meeting themselves, so they use relationships as a distraction from the most important relationship they'll ever have, the one with themselves. They outsource their self-worth to someone else's opinion. They let another person define their value, their lovability, their worth. But here's what they don't realize. If you don't know how to love yourself, you can't teach anyone else how to love you either. You'll accept whatever scraps of attention they offer because you don't know you deserve better. You'll mistake being chosen for being valued. You'll confuse being needed for being loved. So here's the truth that no one wants to tell you. Love isn't supposed to hurt. Love isn't supposed to complete you. Love isn't supposed to save you. Love is supposed to be the overflow of an already full life, not the band-aid for an empty one. When you learn to be whole on your own, when you learn to enjoy your own company, when you learn to validate yourself, then and only then can you love someone from a place of abundance rather than desperation. You can appreciate them without needing them. You can support them without losing yourself. You can care deeply without becoming addicted. This is what real love looks like. And yes, it's rarer than the addiction we usually call love, but it's also more beautiful, more stable, and more sustainable. So I'll leave you with this question, and I want you to really think about it. Are you looking for love? Or are you looking for a drug? Are you seeking a partner? Or are you seeking a dealer? Are you ready to love someone? Or are you just afraid to be alone? Your answer will determine whether your next relationship is a love story or just another relapse. The choice is yours. But first, you have to be honest about which one you're actually choosing. What do you think? Have you been confusing addiction for love? Let me know in the comments below, but be honest with yourself first. And if this video made you question something you thought you knew for certain, that's exactly the point. Let's examine the parallels more closely. In addiction, you develop tolerance. You need more and more of the substance to feel normal. In love, you need more and more validation, more and more proof, more and more of their time and attention just to feel okay. In addiction, you experience withdrawal, physical and emotional pain when the substance is removed. In love, try going a day without hearing from them. Try watching them talk to someone else. Try the moment they seem distant. In addiction, you engage in increasingly destructive behaviors to maintain your supply. In love, you compromise your boundaries. You accept treatment you know is wrong. You ignore red flags that are screaming at you. You stay in situations that are slowly killing your spirit because the alternative, being alone, feels like death. But here's where it gets really dark. Society celebrates this behavior when we call it love. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is face an uncomfortable truth. Subscribe if you want more videos that challenge everything you think you know about human behavior. And remember, the goal isn't to become cynical about love. The goal is to become conscious about it. See you in the next video.